Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. That's right, today we're going to be covering some of the new unique items and also the changes to the unique items that have been going on for, well, Season 5. And the first unique item that we're going to be covering today is the Shard of Verathiel. The Shard of Verathiel is this really powerful sword that basically bumps up all your basic skills by a pretty massive degree. And let's go over it from the beginning, shall we? So as you can see here, we have an all stat bonus of 39 to 59. And of course, this can go up even higher because you can see I only have it master worked to 12. We also have a maximum resource of 6 to 15. Basic skill attack speed, which is pretty amazing, by the way, of 18.4 to 28.7, which is going to be a really huge boon when you're setting up your basic skills. On top of that, we also have +2 to basic skills flat, which I believe if it goes to a greater affix roll can be +3. And we also have this massive bonus, and we're going to be talking about this one because this is kind of cool. It's basically basic skills deal 50 to 200% increased damage, but additionally cost 25 primary resource. Now, this is an interesting effect, and you might have some questions about this, like how does this work? Is it actually costing 25 resource, or does it cost less? And the answer is yes, it does cost less. But before we get into that, let's talk about the flavor text as well. This blade once bore divine purpose, wielded by the angel Verathiel. Like its keeper, the sword fell to the infernal depths, yet beneath this corruption is a heartbeat of past memory holding steadfast. Now, basically how this item works is it makes it so that when you use a basic skill, the basic skill actually costs 25 spirit. But from what I've noticed is it still generates the original spirit that it's supposed to generate as well, which means it kind of cancels itself out for the most part. And with minor attempts, like in various forms, you can usually cancel out the effect almost entirely. Normally, of course, you would just have infinite spirit, and this does mean that you're not going to have infinite spirit in all situations. Now, one of the things about basic skills and their generation is that they do require you to hit a target to actually obtain that generation. So, if I am going to simply just attack the air, for instance, like if you're one of those players that loves to attack the air, you will notice that it doesn't really work that way, and you can also starve yourself out of resource. Now, one of the things I do recommend if you're using the Shard of Verathiel is that you have some way to jumpstart the engine. Like another car to jumpstart the engine, or a battery pack, or like, when you're using the lawnmower and you gotta hit the little prime button like 3 times before you start it. It is going to take some priming to get the engine running, but usually once you have the engine running, you're fine. You also don't want to just swing at the air with this item, so like if you're one of those people that likes to just swing at the air on a regular basis, might not be for you. You're going to have to hit something when you swing. Now, the really cool thing about this is that the huge bump in damage that it gives you can easily be offset so that that primary resource isn't even really a problem. And priming methods are extremely easy to obtain. Like, for instance, if I starve myself out completely and I can use Blood Howl to give myself an instant pump of 20 generate spirit, which can definitely help restart the engine. Now, when I'm attacking monsters or, like anything that actually generates spirit, you'll notice that this doesn't happen. So, like when I'm attacking a monster like this, I'm not going to run out of spirit. This is a triple basic build that I've designed around the Shard of Verathiel, and it's actually been working surprisingly well. I do not have it completely finished, obviously, as you can tell, because my Shard of Verathiel is only an 80% multiplier, as opposed to a 200%, which would be a pretty huge difference in damage. I mean, what is that, 120% multiplier that I'm missing? I'm also missing some of my other multipliers as well, but basically this whole build designed around using 3 basic skills through the Nature's Fury passive. So the Nature's Fury passive allows you to have a 35% chance to trigger a free storm skill or a free earth skill of the same type. Basically, vice versa. And the thing is that you also get all of your benefits, so your earth skill benefits and your storm skill benefits, to anything that is free cast by this ability. Which means that, like, for instance, when I'm casting my earth and I get a free, like wind shear or a free storm strike, that is going to give me all of the multipliers for both. Now, of course, the Shard of Verathiel has tons of uses across the board, and because they made it so that all classes can use swords, except for, I think, the new Spiritborn. The Spiritborn can't use swords, but he's not in the game yet. This sword basically makes for probably like the best in slot for just about any basic build. If you're doing a Flay Barbarian, if you're doing a Bash Barbarian, honestly, if you're doing just about any Barbarian that requires any kind of basic skill damage, it's really kind of hard to overstate that 200% multiplier that you're going to get there, as well as the +2 to basic skills and the basic attack speed. To put this into a frame of reference, think about the rapid aspect. The rapid aspect gives you what? A total of 30% increased attack speed. It's an aspect that you could put on an item. So if you put this item on in place of the rapid aspect, you're still getting your 30% basic attack speed without an issue. Because once you get this thing Masterworked fully up, it's going to be well over 30% increase to basic attack speed. And on top of that, it's also giving you the 200% basic skill damage. So this could very easily replace a rapid aspect with 30% increased attack speed, just like that. On top of that, it also gives you +2 to all basic skills, not just +2 to a specific basic skill, which means that for builds like mine, the trilogy build, this particular build gets even more benefit from this because obviously I'm getting a bonus to all of my basics and not just simply one of them. So as you can see, I'm currently utilizing level 11 Earth Spike, level 11 Wind Shear, and level 7 Storm Strike. I kind of sacked a couple points from Storm Strike, but I should probably put those back. I'm going for like some more tanky setups, so it should be kind of interesting. Now you might be asking, where the hell does the Shard of Verathiel come from? And that's a good question. It can drop throughout the world, so you could get lucky and you could find it somewhere throughout the world as you're playing. However, the main place that it does drop, if you're trying to farm it, is called the Infernal Hells. And it's the new realm that basically involves in this particular season. So when you spawn an Infernal Hells compass, which you can obtain through like HellTides and various other places. The Infernal Hells compass is going to take you into the Hells, and I've done quite a bit of this recently. You're going to kill all the waves of the Infernal Hells, and then once you kill all the waves of the Infernal Hells, you're going to click on some chests. And there's an equipment chest, and there's a very good chance that it can come from the equipment chest. There are quite a few items that are specific to the equipment chest in the Infernal Hells, like the Crown of Lucian, the Shard of Verathiel, the Basilisk, the Vox Omnium, the Endurant Faith is one of the new ones, and so forth and so on. There's quite a lot of them. I don't have all of them, of course, but I do have a lot of them. And they're definitely going to be fun to go over, and I hope that you will join me for these. I do think Shard of Verathiel is an absolutely excellent addition to the game. It's useful for just about any character who wants to use it, whether you're playing a Firebolt basic skill build, whether you're playing a druid like me with the trilogy build, whether you're playing a sorceress with like the Arclash build, or you're doing a barbarian with Flay or Frenzy. All of them are going to have really, really, really good effect with this. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me. Be sure to check out the unique item gambling tool if you have not seen it. It basically allows you to figure out how to gamble this item, which you can actually gamble uniques now. This was a change that they made in Season 5. And if you go to Diablo4.life and you go to gambling uniques, you'll notice that there's a new unique option here. And if you click on uniques and you go to something like the Shard of Verathiel, you'll notice that at the bottom, it says that the best classes to gamble this on are Druid, Necromancer, Rogue, and Sorcerer. And this is, of course, because the Barbarian has so many of his own class-specific uniques that are definitely going to make it much more difficult to obtain on him, because there's a very good chance that if you gamble the swords on Barbarian, you're probably going to end up with the Ramalati's Magnum Opus. You could also end up with the Third Blade. You could also end up with the Azure Wrath, the Shard of Verathiel, the Doombringer, etc., etc., etc. And so basically, like when you're gambling, there are specific classes now that do have better chances than others. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me for videos like this. Let me know what you guys think about the version 1.5 of Shard of Verathiel. And as always, keep watching.